How's it going, folks? Welcome to another fun at-home table read. Tonight we are doing, just an odd movie. This one's Free Fire from Ben Wheatley. It's an A24 movie, easily the most normal of anything they've done. But I'm really curious to try this one. This one's going to be fun with everybody involved. So let's jump right in. Let's do our intros. I'm Logan. I'm going to be doing scene description and playing Chris.
I'm Chelsea. I will be playing Justine.
I'm Catie. I'm going to be playing Ord.
I'm Erik. I'll be playing Vernon.
Hello, I'm Anne, and I will be playing Frank.
Oh, bridges are cold. I'm Travis. I'll be playing Stevo.
No idea what he just said there, but no. Anyway, so let's jump right into this thing. Free Fire, written by Amy Jump and Ben Wheatley. Exterior, Boston. We see an aerial shot of Boston. The sound of WAAB FM burbles over the top. We hear about local events, rock concerts, and films. We see a red 75 Chevy van stuck in traffic. Title, May 13th, 1978, Boston. Exterior street, abandoned factory, day. A blue 72 Plymouth Fury is parked up by a battered-looking warehouse. There are three people inside. A woman and a man in the front and a man in the back. Interior, Plymouth, day. In the driver's seat, Justine, 28, big polarized sunglasses, suit, small build, blonde hair. By her side, Frank, 50, leather jacket, smoking, slacks, dark hair flecked with gray, stocky. In the back seat, Chris, 35, green combat jacket, Ray-Bans, dark and slim. Frank looks straight ahead, angrily. When he speaks, it's in a Belfast accent.
Where is he?
Justine speaks, flat American with a tinge of something European.
It's okay, Frank. We have 10 minutes yet.
Frank shakes his head and looks at his watch. Chris shrugs. He speaks with a Dublin accent. These things happen. Public traffic. Frank sniffs. This is on him. He brought the late guy into this.
Fuck it. I hate the shite.
Stop fretting, it's fine. Justine smiles, listening to the conversation.
Whoa.
How long have you two been married?
A long time. The sex has stopped. We just argue now.
Flatter yourself. I wouldn't go gay for you.
Who then?
I know one. I don't want to talk about that kind of thing.
He started it. Chris enjoys needling Frank.
I knew his father.
Here it comes.
I promised I'd keep him out of trouble.
Well, you pretty much fucked that up.
Well, life can get in the way of promises sometimes.
Justine smiles. She knows.
Justine?
Justine is looking out the window, lost in her own thoughts. After a beat, she turns.
Yes.
Where are you from, darling?
Originally?
Yes, I can hear something in that accent.
It's Swedish.
Swedish. I was going to say German.
It's not German. You have cloth ears, Frank.
German, look, she's smiling.
Justine smiles to herself. Yeah, laughing. At you?
When I say German, she smiles. It's the memory of the old country, the motherland. Germany. Germany.
I spent 6 weeks in Stockholm in 72, remember?
That thing. Fuck. How could I forget that?
Frank shakes his head, remembering.
I'm Swedish.
You see?
Don't overplay your hand.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to Stockholm.
Well, that can happen soon enough. We just have to sort this business out.
Then back we go.
Back to Ireland?
Yeah. Frank looks out the window and pulls a filterless Camel from its pack.
Do you like this place?
Boston?
Marko?
There's a pause. It's as if she's never considered it.
Sure.
She isn't giving anything away from behind her sunglasses. Frank smiles and lights up. He wants to go home. He watches a stray dog nosing around in some rubbish. Interior, red Chevy, day. Inside, Stevo, 28. Long hair, wide Apocalypse Now mustache. T-shirt, jacket, and jeans. He has a black eye. He talks in a Boston accent. Bernie is his heavy-lidded sidekick. Bernie is driving. Stevo is holding his head in his hands.
Fucking head.
I told you not to mix your drinks.
I feel like my brain's trying to crawl out of my eyes.
Every time I tell you.
Have you got any headaches pills?
Pause. Bernie looks sideways at Stevo.
No, I've got some smack though.
Bernie shrugs apologetically. A sledgehammer to crack a nut.
I didn't think you were doing that shit anymore.
Stevo is mock worried.
Just at the weekends. It's for unwinding. I've got a very stressful life.
Stevo sits there for 5 seconds, his head pounding like a bass drum.
Okay, maybe a little.
Bernie smirks and hands Stevo a small wrap of heroin.
When will I finish today?
Stevo carefully opens the wrap.
Careful!
Hour and a half tops. They do the deal and we help load up the crates.
There's guns in the crates.
Yes, guns. You don't get paid $100 for moving cans of beans.
Can't get in any trouble, Stevo. I just can't. When you see
You should have thought about that. The delay. You should have thought about that before you punched that guy in the Harlequins last night. You hear?
I was provoked.
Look in my eyes.
I'd rather not, but I hate it when you do that. It means you're bullshitting me.
Look in my eyes, woman.
Bernie pushes Stevo away.
I am driving.
Stevo decants a little of the heroin into the burnt bit into a burnt bit of tin foil.
I love you, man. I would never let anything happen to you.
Stevo lights up his Zippo under the tin foil.
You're totally fucking cursed me.
Don't worry, man. Sniff. What can go wrong?
He passes back the wrap. Bernie smiles and Stevo drifts onto a warm cloud of morphia. Exterior street. The van pulls up behind the Plymouth. Stevo gets out. Frank has already got out to meet him. He walks over to the man and drags him back to the van. We cut in close now and see.
Where the fuck have you been?
I'm sorry, Frank.
If you say it's traffic, I'm going to punch you in the throat.
Stevo looks at Frank.
There was a density of cars that slowed my degrees or egrees.
Egress. Frank pauses.
Egress, that's a...
You on drugs?
No.
Frank starts again.
Don't lie to me, you little fuck. Are you high? Hi.
No, sir. No, sir.
Interior car, day. Chris sees that Justine is watching Frank talk to the boys. He's just a bit on edge.
And he's meant to be looking after you?
Sure. Do you think that's the dynamic? I meant to be making sure he doesn't get into trouble. So I'm a calming influence. We hear a bump as Frank slams Stevo against the van. Exterior van. Frank knocks out the van window. It winds down. Bernie peeks out.
Hi, Bernard. Hey, Frank. Is he on drugs?
Bernie thinks for a moment, his face a mask of control.
Hey, I'm no rat, but he's taking some medication for a migraine.
Frank turns to Stevo and steps up close. He looks him in the eyes.
I know you don't really understand how serious I am. Well,
I do, Frank. You know,
I am my capacity to hold a grudge is nothing bad has ever happened to you, has it?
No.
Has it?
Stevo is agreeing
No.
to agree here, though he does it poorly, and Frank reads him.
Your grandmother dying of cancer at age 85 does not count.
You don't know anything about me.
Is that supposed to reassure me?
Well,
You're made of glass to me, Stephen.
Frank grabs Stevo by the balls, his fist crushing them through the denim.
Does that focus your mind?
fuck!
Are you so happy about that? I'm holding your brain in my hand now, ain't I? You ever going to be late for me again?
No.
Frank looks
Wipe
around
that
and sees Bernie
smile off
watching
your
him.
face. Bernard, if you want some, just say. I'll open you up like a tin of beans.
Bernie mulls this for a nanosecond.
You're good, Frank. Promise my sister that I bring you home in one piece. You're not going to make a cunt out of me, are you?
No.
Frank lets go of Stevo's balls and he staggers back. Frank's manner has changed. He's matter of fact.
What a poor guy.
Walked into a door.
Frank doesn't move. Stevo becomes uncomfortable.
What are you doing? Stop that.
Frank stares into his soul. Interior Plymouth Day. You ever wonder where the guns go?
No.
You're not curious.
What are you doing? Trying to rub my nose in it?
I just wonder what you're doing here.
Because what? Because I'm a woman?
A good looking woman.
Oh, I see. Okay.
What are you laughing about?
Does it ever work?
What?
The humiliation routine.
I don't follow.
You're going to tell me all about the horrors of your life while trying to get into my underwear, that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, but I usually with the horrors and then they're looking haunted with a bit of eye contact and
And this works?
sure.
Show me you're haunted. That's more retarded.
What are you doing later?
Picking up my kid, cooking dinner, not hanging out with terrorists.
I'm not a terrorist.
Oh, sorry. Stop. That's part of it.
Chris drops the sad look and smiles. Justine lights a cigarette. You dangerous, are you? Mysterious international gun dealing lady.
Yep.
Justine puffs on her cigarette. Frank gets into the car, followed by Stevo. Chris looks at Stevo's black eye. Frank looks at Stevo's eye in the mirror. He purses his lips. Chris points at the black eye using the minimum of effort. Did you win?
I walked into a door.
Chris smiles tightly. Stevo is a clown. Hey, where'd you get him from, Frank? Stevo reacts hurt. He shrugs.
Talk to me if you're talking about me.
Chris and Frank ignore Stevo.
My sister's husband. She's got a bar.
You found him in a bar? Chris smiles. Stevo frowns.
Frankie.
Don't call me Frankie. I hate that. Or Francis.
Frank?
That's an idiot.
So short notice.
Stevo rolls his eyes at the foreign language. He tries to talk to Justine.
I'm Stevo. What's your name?
I don't talk to her.
Why not?
You know her?
No.
Are you married to my sister?
You were married?
Yeah.
Justine makes a face. That's a surprise.
Where's the man from?
I bought it like you said. Bernie got it. It's cool.
What, you did exactly what I said?
Stevo was embarrassed by the questioning in front of Justine.
Come on, Frank. I'm not totally stupid.
That's up for debate.
Got any foundation with you, Justine Love?
Sure.
Justine pulls out a compact. Stevo works out what's about to be asked.
Oh, Frank.
Frank hands it over.
You push it on, boy.
Jesus, Frank.
Push it on, or I'll give you one on the other side to match.
Stevo sadly applies the powder to his eye. It helps a bit. Frank looks at him. He softens.
On there.
He grabs the powder and applies the makeup.
I don't know what she sees in you.
But he's dynamite in the sack. Justine looks around. She looks at Chris and shakes her head. No.
It's my superpower.
Chris watches Frank
By look-
apply makeup to Stevo. He shakes his head. Stevo notices and pouts.
Keep your fucking head still.
Here it comes.
We see a guy shambling out of the shadows. He moves towards the car. Good looking, longish hair, as is the fashion. Suede jacket, blue jeans. His name is Ord. Frank slapped Stevo's cheeks.
There you go. You look great.
The man approaches. He smiles broadly when he sees Justine. He stops by the Plymouth.
Hey, Justine.
Hey, Ord.
These are boyfriends?
Yeah.
Hey, fellas.
Frank is tight-lipped and dying. We see Ord as Frank sees him, clear-eyed. This is a tell for Frank of exercise and general dangerousness. He looks military.
Afternoon. Light.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Traffic.
Frank looks Ord in the eye for a moment.
I love your accent.
Do you?
Carrie.
Hollywood.
Hollywood.
He smiles. Frank gets this reaction a lot. Hollywood is between Belfast and Bangor in Ireland. Hollywood is in California.
The real fucking Hollywood.
Ord's smile remains as he looks to the back seat.
And these guys?
You didn't need to know their names.
I do, Frank. It's polite.
There's a moment. Ord's smile never leaves his lips. Chris looks him over for the first time. He takes his sunglasses off. He reveals cold eyes. Chris. Ord turns to Stevo. He looks at him in the makeup-covered eye. He registers something's a bit weird here.
Stevo, and that's Bernie.
Bernie waves from the van.
Okay, all right. My name is James Orden. You can call me Orden. Ord. Ord. You can call me Ord. Okay?
Nice to meet you, Art. Can we get on with this, please?
Sure. Just a few guidelines for you all. This is obviously a tense situation, and you need to know that I'm armed.
Ord opens his jacket with a flourish to reveal a holster and a pistol. He gestures to it dramatically.
I'm sure you are too.
Frank doesn't give anything away. Stevo grins embarrassed at having his mind read. Maybe he is made of glass.
I want to get home tonight. I've got shit to do. And I appreciate you are very serious, heavy freedom fighting motherfuckers. Fuck the Brits. Free Ireland. I get that. That's cool. This is home of fuck the Brits.
Ord looks at Frank and Chris's face. They look on impassively at his attempt at levity.
Let's just take this calm. Did you all jack off before coming here?
The moment hangs there for a split second.
What was that?
Did you all jack off in the hotel?
Ord makes the international gesture for masturbation.
What the fuck does that have to do?
I'm not working with anyone who brought a loaded weapon.
There's a moment of silence. Frank and Chris smirk.
I did.
Justine smiles.
Christ, Stephen.
There's a pause. Ord is doing his job well. The tension is diffused a little. They get out of the car. Bernie joins them from the van. They follow Ord towards the warehouse. Justine looks around. The buildings are abandoned and nailed shut. If you wanted to run, there would be nowhere to go. Chris is carrying a briefcase. Ord looks at Stevo.
Why are you wearing makeup?
Before Stevo can say, I walked into a door, Frank interrupts.
He has a birthmark.
Ord doesn't buy it for a second.
Okay.
Chris glances around. So, who owns this place?
A friend of a friend. There's a security guy, but he's not here today. Taking a religious holiday.
This last bit is an obvious lie. Ord smirks at the idea of a religious holiday.
What they used to do here.
Make stuff. Not anymore, though.
Titles roll over the walk. Music, Boston plays more than a feeling. Title, Free Fire. Adapted from the novel Iron Sight by Jerome Karim. Interior, warehouse corridor. The group walk inside along a dark concrete corridor. Frank looks a little tense. He scans around, expecting trouble. Ord is not bothered. He knows the situation. The rest of the titles play out here. Stars, producers, financiers, writers. Interior, warehouse factory. We see the group move through the broken down factory. Pigeons flap around, disturbed. Directed by Ben Wheatley. A big wide as the group move through the large empty space. Interior warehouse corridor. They walk through the corridor. The door closes behind them and clicks shut. Ord looks back for a split second. Interior warehouse corridor. They walk along another corridor and then enter out into another large space. Interior warehouse. The warehouse has hefty concrete pillars dotted around it. The ground is littered with broken bottles, refuse sacks, piles of rubbish, bits of abandoned cars, broken foundations of office, and smashed machine tool plinths. The foundations are stubby walls marking out where the offices would have been in the factory. At their highest, around 2 feet, sometimes lower than a foot. Frank looks around, scanning the space. We see the far back from the group, a POV of another person around a pillar watching them. The group move towards the middle of the warehouse. There's a small fold-out table.
Where are we going?
Ord turns, gesturing to the table.
We are here.
Frank looks out to the shadows. Chris turns around and looks about. There's a staircase leading off to offices. Justine looks up. There are skylights. She looks out at the far pillar, and she looks nervous.
Where are your friends?
They can see you.
There's a problem. I guarantee you'll be the first to go.
I told you, Frank. I've got things to do tonight.
Chris scans the area. It's quiet. Justine looks to Ord.
Okay, let's wrap this up, Ord.
Ord whistles. A metal shutter rolls up at the far end of the warehouse. 2 figures enter. Martin Cargo and Vernon Jeffries. Martin is thin and wiry. Vernon is thick-set with a heavy mustache. Vernon is carrying a rifle bag. Their footsteps echo around the space. They approach.
Justine.
Vernon.
Vernon unzips the bag and pulls out an AR-18 assault rifle. He puts it on the table. Frank watches him carefully. The AR-18 looks like a standard machine gun. Same characteristics as the M16. Black and dangerous looking.
AR-18? Factory fresh?
Vernon takes out the magazine and puts it on the table. He then pulls back the rack 3 times and presents it to Frank so he can see that there are no rounds in the weapon. All this time, he has been pointing the weapon to the ground. Vernon lays the now definitely empty weapon on the table. Frank picks it up and weighs it in his hands. He passes it to Chris. Chris puts down his briefcase. Martin watches this. Frank notices Martin.
A window maker.
Widow.
It's a widowmaker. Shut up.
That's what I
Shut
that's what I
up.
said.
Hey, good to see you. My mother's people are from Sligo.
That's nice.
You don't want us to sign a reduction then?
We're doing our bit. I don't need to be here at all.
Frank sucks his teeth. He knows what doing your bit entails. And it's going to cost him a lot more than Martin would ever be prepared to give up. Chris smells the gun. He looks down the barrel. You got some rounds?
Sure.
Vernon rolls the bullets along the tabletop. Chris takes the round and pops them into the magazine.
I'm going to slowly take out my handgun. Is that okay, Frank?
Frank nods at Chris. Chris nods. It's okay.
Sure. Okay.
Ord takes out his pistol and aims it at the ground.
This is just a precaution while the rifle is live.
You worked with these guys before, Ord?
Sure.
It's okay to fire?
By the way, no one can hear us, eh?
Hey, Ord, you ever use your military background to chat up women?
Try not to hit any metalwork. I don't want to get tagged by the ricochet.
Chris gives him a slow, sad look. He shoulders the rifle and takes aim.
Military background?
Chris looks over at Justine. Yeah, your memories of war, the band of brothers, blah, blah.
No, who would want to hear that shit?
The others step away and put their fingers in their ears. You more the silent type, Ord? Chris squeezes off a round as Ord's about to answer. Sorry, what? Ord goes to talk again. Boom.
I hear it's all about eye contact.
Sorry, what?
It's all about eye contact and carrying words.
Chris looks at Justine, who is giggling slightly. Chris makes a, maybe he has a point face, then pulls the trigger. It makes a huge noise in the space. In the distance, there is a thwack as the bullet hits home. The eject cartridge hits the floor and rolls about. Chris looks back at the others, then to Frank. Good.
Okay.
Chris squeezes off a few more shots. Refuse bags pop. A locker falls over. There's a clanging echo in the warehouse. The echo of the shot dims. Chris then adjusts the rifle to full auto. He lets off a burst. He then puts on the safety, takes the magazine and pulls the rack, ejecting the live round. He does this twice more and presents it to Vernon. Vernon nods when he sees it's safe. Chris puts the rifle back on the table. Ord holsters his pistol. Chris takes out a pen and uses it to pick up the brass. He puts them on the table. He looks up at the pillar near the table and he walks over. Ord watches him.
Thought we had talked about M16s.
We did.
The Brits won't even use these things. They fail in the mud.
Chris runs his hands over the pillar. There are pockmarks in it. He looks at Ord. What Chris is looking at are fresh bullet scars. This place has recently been used as a firing range.
Well, don't run about it. Don't run about in the fucking mud.
Interior warehouse by the pillar. Ord watches Chris looking at the pillar.
Oh, what is the matter?
What does that look like to you? Interior warehouse. Frank frowns and starts negotiating. Justine watches Chris.
I've got money for M16s.
Well, I've got AR-18s. That's it.
Ord looks at the marks.
Bullet hits?
He shrugs, not understanding why it might be relevant. Chris looks at the edges of the warehouse. They would have come from a ways off. Chris looks to Ord, then gives up on his investigating. He turns to Vernon. So how many?
40.
All fold in stock?
Sure.
Well, where are they?
Let's see the money, Chief.
Chris pops the case on the table. He opens it up. Martin goes into his bag and rolls out a money counter. Inside, we see a 20-round mag for the AR-18. He feeds the money into the counter. Justine looks at the money for a moment. They all stand around and stare as he does.
It's not that we don't trust you. It's just easier this way.
Sure.
Money flips through the counter. It comes to an end, and Martin looks up.
$40,000?
What would you do if you won the lottery?
I'd buy a cabin back home.
What's the matter with here?
I like it here, but it's just moving through, you know?
Not really.
So he's going to do us a reduction on these non-M16s.
I'll do them at 10% off.
15.
12.
Okay, so I'll take 1,200 back.
Sure, I can do you that in ammo if you want.
You're going to charge extra on the ammo.
Specialist. got a press. You can do it in your garage or whatnot. Eh?
Frank shrugs, defeated. Interior van. Inside the van sits Gordon, 32, shoulder-length hair, leather jacket, and Harry, 27, baby-faced bomber jacket. Harry is picking his knuckles. They are grazed from fighting. Gordon watches him out of the corner of his eye.
You got the walkie turned on?
Yeah, thanks.
We've been here ages. Maybe something's gone wrong.
Yeah, sure. There was swapped signal.
How long have you worked for Vernon?
Yeah, long enough. Remember, she's very jumpy. Can you ratchet it down just a couple of notches?
Sure. I'm just ready, I guess.
To load some boxes?
No, just pew ready.
Gordon rolls his eyes.
You need to go wash those knuckles. You'll get an infection.
I was in a fight.
Walkie squawks.
That's the sign.
Gordon starts up the van. John Denver starts playing on the 8-track.
You like John Denver?
Sure.
Interior warehouse. In the distance, there is the noise of the van starting up. The men stand patiently as it approaches. Frank is tense. He looks over to Chris. Chris is not scared, but looks on intensely. He strokes his jacket where his gun is. Frank looks to Martin. The van enters the warehouse.
Look, if we wanted to rip you off, it would have happened already.
Frank looks them up and down for a second. He's like a cat with a mouse.
How do you all know each other?
Will it make the guns fire any straighter if you knew?
Vernon points at Justine.
She vouches for us. That's how it works.
Justine smiles.
I
That's
don't
right.
want to get. Nope, sorry. I don't want to get to know you, Frank. I've got enough friends already. You don't want to know me. She brings us all together. It's safer that way.
Frank's face is set. He's smiling, but he's not happy. Justine detects this. Martin is resolute in not talking.
My father had a gun shop in Sweden. I've known the Corsicans since I was a kid. They know the Corsicans, so we're all friends.
That's cozy. You always been into guns, Justine?
I grew up with them. How about you?
My father took me shooting when I was a boy. Always been around them. He was a good shot. Later, he was in the East Europe prison. It was a good skill to have.
Story time over.
What war were you in, Lord?
Whatever it was, the Great Irish Army wasn't involved.
Interior warehouse. The van rolls in. It comes to a stop. The two men get out. They walk around the back of the truck and start unloading. One of the men looks at Stevo. He walks around the van. Martin opens the back door with a key on his keychain. The two men, Gordon and Harry, start lugging out the boxes. They are about 1/2 foot by 3 foot wooden containers with rope handles. Martin takes the van keys from Harry and pockets them. Soon there are a pile of boxes. Gordon and Harry are sweating slightly, and Harry is eyeing Stevo.
Let's have a look then.
Vernon takes a crowbar and opens up one of the boxes. Inside are 3 AR-18s in wood chippings. Frank smiles, points to a random box. What's your daughter's called?
Agnes.
How about that one?
Vernon shrugs and opens it. Same deal. Just open them all. The boxes are opened up. Inside sit the AR-18s. Frank purses his lips. Chris leans into Justine. Martin watches neurotically. Or sorry, neutrally. Yeah, I can't believe you won't see me tomorrow.
You think I'm stupid?
What?
Stop pretending to be interested in my kid.
Just making conversation. Chris looks at the guns. Vernon looks over his shoulder.
They like to run wet. Keep it lubed when it's dirty.
He pulls out a can of lube.
On the house.
Chris plays with the folding stock. Hey, you got the ammo?
Sure, in the back, but not yet.
Chris smiles. Everyone is cautious. Harry takes another look at Stevo as he passes with a box. Stevo looks at him with vague recognition. This look turns to cold dread over the next few moments. Gordon and Harry bring the last box out and put it down. Round the other side of the van, Stevo motions to Bernie.
Look who it is.
Bernie looks back over his shoulder and spots Harry.
Oh,
Oh.
fuck no. Has he made you?
How could he not?
Frank makes an inventory of the contents of the boxes. He counts the contents, and Chris has a look at a random sample. They are all the same. This is the real deal, all new. Harry is sneaking peeks at Stevo here and there. As each box is signed off, it's resealed and stacked. A 2-foot-high wooden wall is being built out of packing cases. Gordon looks and sees Harry looking agitated. Round the back of the van, he talks to Harry.
What's the matter with you?
I don't know. I think I know those guys.
Cops?
No, from last night.
You better get your shit together because we're in a serious situation here. Just chill out.
Round the front of the van, the deal is coming to a close.
Okay, that's our business. Almost done here.
You tell the Corsican, thanks.
Perfecto, we will. We will leave and then you load out. Just give us 5 minutes. You can drive your vehicle around the Lassiter.
Okay, got it.
Harry is staring now, staring at Stevo. Gordon looks from Harry to Vernon.
Harry,
I know you do. I know you, Stevo.
Me?
shut up, Harry.
What's the problem, Gordon?
Martin looks at his watch and glances at Justine. Next, he takes a small step back. His watch is ticking towards 12.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
Martin takes a small look at the far pillars.
What's this about, Harry?
This is the guy that hit us last night at Harlequin's. Him and his buddy there.
Bernie shifts uncomfortably. There's a pause. Frank looks up. Chris looks carefully at Harry.
What, is this true?
I don't know what you're talking about.
A moment passes. Vernon stares at Stevo.
You're a terrible liar, son.
Come on now. Don't be calling my brother-in-law a liar.
Stevo is starting to sweat. He looks to Frank. Bernie looks into the middle distance, trying to disappear.
Tell him, Stephen.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Harry's face is red with anger. As he says the next few lines, it's as if he is stepping on an emotional gas pedal. He goes from straight to enraged in 8 words.
Last night, there was a fight in Harlequin's, started by this guy and his friend, cousin Sally Peregrine. She was bottled. She's still in the hospital.
Frank grimaces. Justine looks to Stevo. She's not happy about what she's hearing. Bernie looks blank. Chris looks at Ord's hands. Frank talks very slowly and deliberately.
We're here for work, not to talk about the rights or wrongs of particular bar fights.
I agree.
Harry twitches. He's on the rack here. He knows this is the wrong place, but his sense of righteousness is eating him alive.
Face is fucked up.
Vernon smiles in a fatherly way.
Well, that's something you'll have to take care of another day.
We can sort this kind of thing out later, Harry.
He ground the glass into her face.
I wasn't there. This is total bullshit, man.
Was he all banged up after last night?
I walked into a door. I've never been to that bar.
Stevo is stepping forward towards Harry. Bernie is naturally moving in. Harry is looking forward with Gordon as his wingman. It's coming together. It's like it wants to happen.
I didn't start it, you motherfucker.
You need to stop talking right now. Stevo punches Harry. Harry falls back. He scrambles to his feet and grabs at Stevo. The two men fall to the floor in a flail of punches and short screams of exertion. Ord looks over to Chris and shrugs. Christ. Ord and Frank move in and pull the two men apart. They grab them and pry them open. Chris is putting a little distance between himself and the others. Ord and Frank have a hold of the flailing men.
You fucking shit! I'll kill you fuckers! Let me go! Let me go!
I will, Harry, but you have to relax.
Ord looks to Chris. He can see Harry's about to go. There's a moment when the fire could catch again, just on the vapors. Harry wipes his face. He's so conflicted. He's never backed down from a fight before. Stevo is released by Frank and is wiping blood from his nose and gasping for air. Harry looks around at the other men. Chris puts out his hand flat and bends down a bit. It's a placatory body language. He's talking slowly. The sound has shifted now. It feels muffled. Variously, the characters are entering into an endorphin state as their bodies flood with adrenaline. Look, I'm sorry to hear about your cousin, but we are taking these guns now and leaving. Ord lets go of Harry's arm. Chris backs away to give himself a bit of distance. He instinctively knows what's about to go down.
Let's go, Harry.
Okay, that's okay.
Harry goes to walk away. He talks quietly, defeated.
She was only 17.
Stevo watches Harry walk away.
Then she shouldn't have been out, should she?
Chris is watching Harry's hands. He looks over to Martin. Chris's hand twitches. He looks back. Harry twists in Martin's arms, pulling a snub-nosed .38. Ord sees it and pushes forward to get to Harry.
No!
Harry fires at Stevo. Time slows. Flare flashes from the muzzle of the snub-nose. Stevo is hit in the shoulder. It opens up in an explosion of material and blood. In one action, his hand pulls out his M1911 handgun from his jacket, and Stevo falls. Frank looks on in low resignation. This is his fault for bringing the idiot along. Justine looks at Ord. Can he help stop this? Ord catches Justine's look. It's out of his hands now. Martin grabs at Harry, trying to stop him. All men stare at each other for a moment. Frank steps backward and gets ready to pull. Chris scans back and forth to see which way this is going to go. There's a split second where this fight might not escalate. But Chris knows as soon as that first shot is fired, the guns will come out and there's no other place to go. Bernie looks on, frozen at the spot. Gordon takes a step back. He looks on blankly. Martin takes a step back. He's staring at Stevo falling. Martin bumps into the table. The AR-18 and a detached magazine fall off of it. Vernon looks at Chris and sees the look. He doesn't even think and goes for his pistol. Ord staggers back looking for cover. He shifts his body weight out of the line of fire of Stevo. Vernon pulls his pistol, a Colt Cobra, a snub-nosed .38. Chris quickly draws his pistol, a police .38. He tucks his arm in so that his hand is as close to his hip, a classic close combat stance. Frank pulls his pistol, a Browning 9mm automatic. Martin pulls his, a .44 Python. He cocks it and he looks around for a target. Ord moves backwards towards the AR-18 cases. Vernon fumbles with the safety catch on his pistol. Chris is hunkered down to make as small a target as possible as he tries to get to cover. He sees the pillar out of his peripheral vision. Tactically, he figures there are too many people to engage. He needs to move and shoot to get to a safe position. Justine pulls her pistol, a .38 police special. She nervously looks around. Bernie is frozen. His hands come up slowly. He wants no part of this. Harry fires again. The hammer smashing down on a bullet's percussion cap. It fires, igniting the gunpowder. The pistol kicks back the bullet as the bullet exits. The cylinder turns and engages another cartridge. The bullet whistles past Stevo's head as he falls backwards. Ord pulls out his pistol from a kneeling position, a Colt M1991A1 compact. Stevo fires his automatic. The pistol spits fire. The slide jerks back and the shell casing ejects. A high-caliber slug misses Harry and hits Gordon, blowing his ear off. His long hair blows in the air at the impact. Gordon grabs the side of his face as blood arcs out of his head. He starts to scream, but he is trapped in syrup like a dream. Vernon is nervously fiddling with his pistol, trying to unlock the safety while backing away. Bernie is watching the events unfold around him. He's still frozen. Ord takes aim at Chris. He tracks him in the iron sights of his automatic. It's hard to hit him as Vernon moves across his line of sight. Chris fires in twos, double taps, tap tap. He hits Martin at close range. A glob of gore sprouts from Martin's head. Stevo hits the floor. He's still firing. A second bullet chambers. Bang. A spent cartridge spins across space. He totally misses Harry. The bullet screams off wide. A light in the ceiling explodes. Sparks fly. Martin drops to his knees. Blood spits from his head. Ord fires on Chris. Misses the first shot, but hits him with the second, winging his arm. Ord is concentrated on his iron sight. He tries to control the dump of adrenaline that's in his system. He starts to experience tunnel vision. Interior warehouse 200 meters out east. Jimmy, 40, slim, black jacket, steps out of the shadows with his M1 carbine. He licks his fingers and wets the iron sight at the end of his rifle. He watches for a moment as shots are fired in the distance. Gun smoke is gathering in the air. He looks nervous. This wasn't the plan. He looks at the far side of the warehouse and sees a second rifleman, Howie. Interior warehouse, Howie's pillar, 200 meters out west. Far away from the action, we find Howie, 53, pot-bellied, white whiskers, dark hunting jacket. He takes aim with his M1 Garand. He looks stressed. He looks over at Jimmy's position. Is this what they should be doing? He sees down his iron sight. In the distance, we see the gun battle. Interior warehouse. Vernon fires his pistol at Stevo, and the bullet nicks Stevo's thigh. Blood spurts out. He turns and fires behind him. Shell casings ping into the air. Chris fires his .38, hitting Vernon's arm. He staggers back, half running. It's like he's been punched. Martin fires his pistol involuntarily. It kicks back, the ripple going down his arm. The shot ricochets across the floor and winds towards Frank. Frank almost bunny hops to the side in shock. Chris fires his pistol at Harry and hits him in the side. Harry's jacket puffs up and explodes with blood. The bullet exits and Harry spins, already off balance. Bernie starts to realize what's happening around him and runs towards a pillar. Frank fires his pistol at Vernon. He fires wide and the round hits the van. It makes a low dunk noise. Bang. Justine darts right to avoid the gunfire. Bang. Harry falls backwards and fires into the air. Another ricochet pangs off of the light fixtures. Bang. Stevo fires his third shot. It's wide and inaccurate. Bang. Gordon drops his pistol and grabs his head. Blood squirts out through his fingers. He falls to the side and slides down the side of the van. Harry collapses into the dirt. Interior warehouse 200 meters out. Jimmy looks at his watch. Midday. Jimmy squeezes off 3 shots with the M1 carbine. The shots are loud and distinctive. Wud. Bang, wood, or clang, wud, clang, wud, clang. Brass casings roll around on the floor. Interior warehouse. A bullet smacks into Frank's arm, spinning him around. Chris turns his head and sees the flash of the carbine for the first time. Bernie cowers behind the pillar, bullets chasing through the air. Gordon clambers to his feet and looks for an exit. Interior warehouse. Vernon dives out of the way and Harry tries to shield himself from the incoming gunfire. It's chaos. The initial pistol shootout is superseded by the introduction of much greater firepower. The M1 carbine fire continues in bursts of 3. A shot goes wide and hits Gordon in the leg. He is spun around and collapses to the ground again. Interior warehouse, Howie's pillar.
This isn't what we arranged. Fuck.
Howie squeezes his trigger. His M1 Garand fires. The sound is very distinct. Chack ting, chack ting. Interior warehouse. Chris hears the whine of Howie's missed shots. He turns and makes eye contact with Ord. Ord looks at him from behind the AR-18 boxes. They are the only two who know what's happening, and they're in the crossfire. Chris gestures to Ord. What the fuck is this?
They are not with us.
It sounds like a fucking Garand. Chank ting. Chack ting. Ord looks around in the boxes and he finds Vernon's bag. Frank fires again at Vernon, who is trying to move out of the way. Vernon takes a round to the leg. As he falls, he fires again, hitting nothing. His jacket rips open and the AR-18 rounds tinkle to the ground. Chris tries to take cover from the increasing rifle crossfire. Bullets zing through the air. He grabs one of the AR-18 rounds from the floor and brings up the fallen rifle. Vernon grabs at him.
Aye!
Chris and Vernon struggle on the floor. Chank ting, chank ting. Chris grabs one of the loose rounds and stabs Vernon in the hand with it. Vernon recoils, grasping his bloodied hand. Chris scoops up 3 more of the long 5.56 and 45 millimeter bullets. Frank is hit in the leg and collapses. Ord pulls out the AR-18 from the packing case and slams the magazine into it. He racks it. He takes aim at Howie. Chang. The Garand magazine is empty and pops out of the rifle. Clang. This is the sound of a cartridge ejecting from the Garand, a default design fault. Chris aims the rifle and fires at Jimmy, the rifleman. Interior warehouse, Jimmy's pillar. The first shot chips concrete that goes into Jimmy's eyes. He staggers back and stops firing. Interior warehouse, Ord fires at Howie. Howie is further off than Jimmy. The AR-18 round cracks loud. A spent cartridge pings off of the table, or out of the rifle. Interior warehouse, Howie's pillar. Howie struggles to reload his Garand. The second and third AR-18 shots bite into the pillar. Howie ducks behind his pillar. Interior warehouse, AR-18 boxes. Ord fires again, and to keep him pinned down. A bullet zings off of the concrete from Jimmy. Ord turns 90 degrees and fires back in Jimmy's direction. Bang, 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 bang. Chris scrambles looking for any more rounds. He finds one and runs for a concrete column. Gordon is on the floor shouting. Harry continues to fire at Stevo from the ground. Stevo is hit in the shin. His leg explodes and he screams in agony. Interior warehouse, Howie's pillar. Howie returns fire. Chank, chank. Interior warehouse, AR-18 boxes. Or it turns to fire at Harry. Bang, bang, bang. Interior warehouse, west pillar. Chris makes it to the pillar and looks around to see where Jimmy is. Interior warehouse, Stevo hits the ground. He holds his leg. Interior warehouse, 200 meters out. Jimmy is wiping his eyes. He has blood pouring down his face. Interior warehouse, west pillar. Chris takes careful aim with the AR-18 and fires. Interior warehouse, 200 meters out. Jimmy is shot through the chest and falls to the ground. Interior warehouse, west pillar. Chris turns and looks at the situation. Harry fires at Justine. Interior warehouse. Justine is shot in the arm. She shoots back low. He's shot in the leg. He returns fire and shoots her in the thigh, and she falls to the ground. Interior warehouse, Howie's pillar. Howie fires wildly. He's panicking. AR-18 rounds are zinging around his position.
God damn.
He loses his nerve and makes a run for the far door. Howie is old, fat, and out of shape. He huffs and puffs. Interior warehouse. Ord tracks Howie with his AR-18. He lets out a burst, and Howie collapses to the floor. Ord is out of bullets. He has shot his 20-round mag. He carefully puts the rifle down. Justine looks around and sees Howie is immobilized. Under the van, she can see the shapes of the other men. She crawls away towards a low wall. Chris looks to Frank. Frank is on the floor trying to crawl away from the others towards the relative safety of the south pillar. Chris runs low to get help to help Frank and is hit by Gordon. He collapses in the dust and his gun skitters away. Stevo takes aim and shoots at Gordon. He misses. The echoes of the shots ring around the space. Bernie looks around. He sees the various positions where people are hiding. He's the only one not wounded. He looks to the door where the truck came in. Justine looks at her wounds. She rips her jacket and makes a tourniquet for her leg. She looks at the pistol and reloads it from her handbag. She empties out the contents. Purse, keys, mouth spray, perfume, dental floss, sanitary towel, speed loaders. Number 2, needles. She breathes heavily. She peeks over the wall at the devastation. We see the warehouse in wide. Everyone is down. Smoke hangs in the air. Justine can see that Frank has almost finished pulling himself over to the far pillar. He has a painful 10 meters to go. Bernie gets up and makes a run for the steel shuttered exit. He sprints across open ground. Stevo is crawling away from the van trying to get a shot at Gordon and Harry. Vernon shoots Bernie. Bernie jerks as he's hit. He keeps trying to move forward, but collapses. Stevo sees Bernie collapse to the ground.
Bernie!
Bernie crawls along for a bit, but stops. His breathing becomes slower. He dies. Stevo looks on, devastated.
Bernie! No!
Interior warehouse, Jimmy's pillar. Jimmy opens his eyes. He's lying on his back. Blood is pouring out of his chest. He tries to rub the blood from his eyes, but from his POV, we see he's partially blind.
Oh, Christ.
He rubs his eyes. He finds a tap and pours some water and cleans his eyes. He sees he's bleeding profusely. He tries to get to his feet, but he can't. He sees he's dropped the N1 carbine away. Interior warehouse, north pillar. Harry shuffles backwards towards the concrete pillar. He turns and looks at the situation. He's caked in blood. He looks to see how much ammo he has. Interior warehouse, low wall. Justine gets her lighter out of her pocket and puts it in the collected contents of her handbag. Interior warehouse. There's an eerie silence in the warehouse. Smoke lazily drifts away. Light finds it and filters through. We visit each of the combatants. Jimmy the rifleman. Jimmy has propped his head up against the pillar and is conscious but badly wounded. Harry. Harry's on the floor. He's been hit twice, but nothing life-threatening. Yet. He looks around wildly. Bernie is face down. Dead. Frank? Frank is lying on the ground. He's breathing steadily, trying to calm himself, resting before attempting the last few meters to the south pillar. Vernon. Vernon is trying to stop his leg bleeding. He looks nervously to Ord. Gordon. Gordon is in shock. He's holding his bleeding head. Howie the rifleman. Howie is alive, but crippled. He lays in a growing puddle of blood. Martin. Martin is lying face down in his own blood. It bubbles as he breathes. Stevo. Stevo is crawling away slowly, trying to make it to the south pillar. He's been crying. Justine. Justine is ripping off her trouser leg and picking the material out of the bullet wound. Ord. Ord is watching and thinking. He looks at all the people involved and tries to think where this will go next. Chris. Chris rests against the pillar. He looks at his hand. It's shaking. He holds it with the other hand to stop the tremors. Interior warehouse, AR-18 crates. Ord pokes his head out from around the boxes and makes eye contact with the other guys.
Who's alive? Harry?
Harry is laying behind some rubble.
I'm hit.
Vernon?
Vernon is by the van.
My leg. Ugh.
Move towards me. You're out in the open there.
Vernon takes in a deep breath and starts to crawl away. He hauls himself painfully back towards the AR-18 boxes. Exterior south pillar. Frank makes his way towards the south pillar. He manages to get onto 1 foot and stagger towards it. Harry fires at him. The shot goes way wide.
Stop shooting! What are you doing?
Frank makes it to the pillar and slumps. Stevo rolls onto his back and fires a shot at Harry. He misses as well. Harry ducks behind his pillar. Stevo crawls around towards the east pillar. Interior warehouse shooting area. Vernon crawls on all fours towards the AR-18 packing cases. He methodically puts one hand in front of the other. He eventually makes it. Ord pulls him in. Interior warehouse east pillar. Stevo makes it to the pillar. He looks around. He sees Frank. Frank makes a hand gesture. Stay there. Interior warehouse low wall. Justine rips her trouser. Interior warehouse east pillar. Chris gets himself together from behind his pillar. He looks around and assesses the situation. He looks at his 38. 5 shots left. He looks over at Justine as he hears the ripping of her trousers. Justine? Justine!
Yes,
Chris, how are you?
I'm hitting the leg.
Chris shuffles over to her position, using the low wall as cover. Interior warehouse AR-18 cases. Ord looks over his wounds. He goes through his pockets and he finds a hip flask. He opens it and sniffs it. He smiles. Interior warehouse low wall. Justine looks up at the wound on her leg. She sees that it's in and out. She picks the bits of trouser out of the wound with a pair of tweezers. And Chris crawls into view. It's where those guys come from.
I don't know. They were waiting though.
I knew it. These bullet strikings on the pillar I saw. They were range markings. They had time to practice. She opens her mouthwash. She uses it to clean the wound on her leg. She flinches as she pours it on. She squirts some perfume on the wound as well. The alcohol works as an antiseptic. Yeah. Think they were with Ord and Vernon?
Independence, I'd say. Maybe they got wind of the deal.
Yeah, maybe. You hurt bad? Justine pulls a needle out of her bag and threads the dental floss into the needle. She uses her lighter to sterilize its end.
No, I don't think so.
Justine uses the dental floss to stitch her leg together. Chris looks on in amazement.
I was trained as a nurse.
She uses a sanitary napkin as a bandage. Chris is impressed. She looks at his wounds. She squirts some perfume on his side wound.
This looks okay. Just clipped you.
He pulls up his trouser.
This is bad, though.
Chris looks at her sadly and smiles. She pokes around at it a bit more.
Looks straight, though.
She starts to make a bandage for him. She stitches up the gash in his side. He grits his teeth as the needle goes in.
Such a baby.
She ties the leg wound tight with a bandage.
Gonna go septic in about 48 hours.
Yeah, we'll be out of here by then. Chris isn't sure he believes what he just said. She looks over to the edge of the wall to see what's going on. She sees movement over at the AR-18 crates. Interior warehouse AR-18 crates. Gordon sees Stevo moving through the wheels of the van. He looks down at the floor and sees a chunk of his own ear. And he looks back to Stevo.
Hey, you fucker, where you going?
He aims his pistol and fires. A bullet skids into the concrete floor near Stevo, and Stevo keeps moving. Gordon starts crawling towards him.
Gordon, get back here.
Son of a bitch shot me!
Gordon crawls to the van. Stevo is crawling away. Gordon crawls out to get a shot at Stevo. He takes aim. Frank takes a shot at him and makes him retreat behind the wheel. Interior warehouse AR-18 boxes. Ord looks over to Gordon. Vernon looks about. He sees where Justine and Chris are. Frank's position. He looks at Bernard's dead body. He looks over at Martin and how he collapsed. He thinks for a moment. There are a lot of dead and dying people here. He's coming to a conclusion. Ord sees him thinking.
What do you want to do?
I want to go home.
Ord smiles.
I see we have 3 options. 1, we leave. 2, we shoot it out with them. 3, we negotiate.
Here's the thing. We have 4 bodies already and loads of guns. This is a very bad situation.
Yeah.
I think the only way out now is kill them all.
Vern, come on.
This is the logical play. We can't take the risk.
Ord looks around at the damage. He looks over to where Jimmy was. He sees he's moving about.
Who the fuck was that guy?
The mix looked as surprised as us.
Who knows from our side, outside of the Cortis scan?
Maybe it was Justine.
What would she have to gain?
How do you know anyone? Situations change. People like us already take a lot of risks. What's one more?
Vernon looks over to her. He's already decided a course of action. He looks back to Martin's inert body.
I worked with him for 10 years.
Interior warehouse west pillar. Jimmy is sobbing. He looks at his hand. He can see colors at the edge of his vision. He gets out his wallet and takes out a picture of his wife and child. Jimmy sobs. He tries to pull himself together. Interior warehouse low wall. Justine peers over the top of her wall. She sees Ord pop his head over the AR-18 crates and looks about.
Ord!
Hey, Justine! I hope you didn't get hit too bad.
What are we gonna do about this?
My guys are pretty pissed off.
There's not a lot of love on this side either.
We gotta work this out.
We hear Frank echoing in from the south pillar.
Look at it, sweetheart. He knows he's beat.
What's that, Frank?
You heard me?
Hey, we are happy to sit out here till our guys turn up looking for us. Won't be long now.
Oh, is that right?
Sounds unlikely.
Oh, you're still breathing too, Christopher?
Yeah, sure, for now. There's a long moan. Ord looks over the direction of the collapsed Howie.
Ah!
You still alive?
Yet an ambulance.
Ain't gonna need an ambulance.
I'm shot.
We're all shot, fella.
Ah!
Shut up.
Who hired you?
Fuck off.
Frank looks at the blood in his hand. Vernon is thinking. He's mulling over the voice of the shooter.
I know that voice.
Interior warehouse low wall. Chris and Justine lay next to one another. So, who are we dealing with here?
Ord is an ex-military guy they bring in to have a bit of a sensible muscle. Martin and Vernon are the connections. I deal through their boss. The kids, I don't know.
Or it seems like someone we can work with.
You won't panic. The others,
You should stay here.
where are you going?
I'm getting over to the others.
Why would you leave me here?
You have to stay independent. If you align with us, they'll kill you. First opportunity you get, you have to get out of here.
You think you can win?
At the end of the day, a battle is won by the side that gives up last. I ain't dying here.
You think you have the most reason to live?
I've got an ideology, at least. These guys just got money.
Money can mean a lot of things. It can mean freedom. People will do anything for freedom.
I won't let them hurt you.
It's too late for that.
Chris starts to make his way over to the south pillar. Interior warehouse, AR-18 boxes. Ord is moving about, dragging bags of rubble over and putting them up against the AR-18 boxes. Harry watches him out from the position by the van. Harry shouts out to Stevo and whoever is listening.
Fuck you!
Vernon hisses over to Harry.
I shall put one in you, you little bastard!
Ord turns to Vernon.
Those other shooters are independents. This would have gone down like this, whatever happened. In fact, Harry's lunacy may have helped us.
How so?
Because without the initial gunplay, the shooters would have caught us completely off guard.
Ord puts another bag of rubble up against the wooden crates.
What are you doing? Building a fort?
Do you think wooden boxes stop bullets?
In Minecraft, don't they?
You watch too much TV. Do you think a stud wall stops a bullet?
I guess not.
Do you know the difference between concealment and cover?
Vernon registers the error of his ways.
Christ.
Vernon joins in building the barricade.
Oh!
Vernon stops and frowns.
Is that you, Howie?
Yeah.
There's a pause.
Yeah. That you, Vern?
No shit, Sherlock! What are you doing here?
It was a score. I didn't know it would be you.
Well, it fucking was!
I've been hit bad, Vern. You gotta call an ambulance.
Who hired you?
You promise you will get me some help?
Sure.
Interior warehouse, low wall. Justine listens to the conversation.
You have to tell me who hired you.
I suppose it's academic now.
Justine looks over and she can see Howie in the distance. Interior warehouse. Gordon is watching as things play out. He holds his bleeding head. He can see Howie. Interior warehouse, south pillar. Chris watches. He looks to Frank at his pillar. Chris shakes himself off. He crouches and stands up unsteadily. He gets ready to run. He slouches forward and hobbles towards Frank's position. He gets halfway across when he's noticed. Interior warehouse by the van. Harry takes a feeble shot at Chris. The shot winds past. Interior warehouse, AR-18 boxes. Vernon is talking to Howie.
Oh, I got you out of here, Howie. Just tell me who hired you.
Interior warehouse, south pillar. Frank fires back at Harry. Chris approaches Frank's pillar and falls in behind it. Interior warehouse. Howie is still lying on his front. No amount of medical care is going to help him. He licks his bloody lips trying to talk.
Vern? Vern?
Suddenly, 2 shots ring out. Howie is shot in the head. He rolls over, obviously dead. Interior AR-18 boxes. Ord looks around trying to work out who took the shot. General gun smoke is wafting about. Vernon looks around wildly.
Howie!
Ord rubs his face. This is a fucked up situation. Vernon ducks back now.
He's fucking dead.
Interior warehouse, south pillar. Chris collapses on the ground, exhausted. He props himself up and looks back to Justine. She looks back at him and smiles weakly. He nods and turns to Frank. Oh, so here we are.
Good to see you.
Your brother-in-law's a fucking idiot. Frank looks miserable and shakes his head.
Do you think they have anyone coming?
I think they have troubles of their own. Someone set up the shooters. And it looked like the last one got shot.
I didn't see it where it came from.
If anyone's coming for it, it wasn't anytime soon. Or never says anything by accident. He wouldn't give away his advantage like this.
Never told Leary where we were going.
He might work it. Chris tries to hide his defeat.
He's an idiot. He's never going to put us together.
Chris looks out of the far door where the van came in. We can't have him leave. If they get outside, we're fucked. Look at all these bodies.
But we can cover the back door. I don't think anyone is going to be making any sudden movements.
If we can make it over, we can't leave without the guns.
There's a priority at this point.
We are fucking thin ice with our friends at home without losing a shitload of money and guns. We have to make this work.
Can but try.
Biggest problem we have is if they have ammo for the AR-18s. Frank hadn't considered that until this moment. Frank's face crumples a depression.
Brilliant.
Interior warehouse. Stevo suddenly gets up on one leg and starts shuffling towards a bit of cover. He gets there safely. He looks around at the warehouse and licks his lips. He makes another shuffle across the warehouse towards Frank and Chris. Interior warehouse south pillar. Stevo collapses in front of the pillar. Frank grabs him and pulls him in. He's barely conscious.
Steven. Steven!
He's passed out. They wait for a minute. Stevo starts to fit. The two men try to stop him from smashing his head on the concrete. They wrestle with him. He stops fitting, and Frank holds him with his arm, or holds him in his arms for a moment. The two men are exhausted. Stevo opens his eyes.
So sorry, Frank.
Frank looks at him for a beat.
It's done now.
They sit there for a moment, breathing heavy. Hey, Ord!
I hear you.
Let me put to you my rating of this. Interior warehouse AR-18 boxes.
Shoot.
Interior warehouse south pillar. The business of these, the business side of things is complete. Those are our guns, and that's your money. That's not under dispute. I want to leave here with the guns. You want to leave here with the money. What's happened here, it's unfortunate, but we have to see it through.
Agreed.
I propose we let Justine to continue to act as the broker. She will leave here and get messages to our respective people to come and get us. And then all will be cool again. Interior warehouse, AR-18 boxes. Vernon looks at Ord. He doesn't like it.
What if she hired the shooters? What if she leaves here and she contacts the Irish? I shoot that kid and you show Howie. That's murder. That's desert in Massachusetts.
We can settle this.
Well, we have more people. We have guns.
Ord looked at him, depressed. Vernon doesn't understand the situation.
Okay, Chris, sensible. Okay, let's do it. It's a deal. Are you good with that, Justine?
Interior warehouse, low wall.
Yes, sounds good. Okay.
Interior warehouse, south pillar. No shooting. Justine to go, and we wait it out. Interior warehouse, AR-18 crates.
Deal.
Justine gets ready to move. She staggers to her feet and starts to move. She's very wobbly. You need help there, Justine? Chris throws over a broom. Use it as a crutch. Justine grabs the brush and uses it to take the weight of her busted leg. She starts to pick up speed. Suddenly, a phone rings in the distance. The sound echoes across the space, ringing and ringing, and then stops. Chris looks at Frank. Vernon looks at Ord. Justine listens to the phone. She realizes that the sound changes everything. Whoever gets to the phone first. Ord looks over to a clicking junction box on the wall. Ring. 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 Vernon looks over to Justine hobbling along. Ring. Justine hobbles faster. Ring. Chris looks over to Vernon and Ord. He can see them talking. Hey, No. Ring.
Vernon, wait.
Vernon has his pistol out. He starts to raise it. Ord knows what he's about to do. Vernon aims his pistol at Justine.
You stay right there, honey.
Justine tries to move faster. Vernon fires. Ord tries to grab the pistol. The shot goes wide. Justine dives to the ground, northwest of the van. In silence. Interior warehouse, AR-18 boxes. Ord listens to the phone. He looks at Vernon. Vernon looks on, grim-faced. There's silence.
You think she's dead?
Hard to tell.
You motherfuckers!
She's alive.
Sight!
Vernon looks over to where she fell and takes aim. Interior warehouse northwest of van. Justine is lying in the rubble. She squirms along her belly to try to find better cover. Vernon is firing at her. She tries to crawl away, and bullets are flying. Interior warehouse AR-18 boxes. Vernon and Ord lay behind the boxes. Vernon takes aim again.
If she gets out, then we are dead men. You understand that?
Interior warehouse south pillar. Chris speed reloads, points his pistol up at a 90-degree angle, plunges the empty brass out and uses the speed loader from his pocket.
I don't know why you use a pistol.
Chris peers around the pillar and watches as Vernon takes pot shots at Justine. She looks on. She looks back at him, panicked. He got her in this situation. 6 for sure, rather than 7 for maybe. Stevo rolls his eyes. He looks at his 45, and Chris looks at it too. Shooting's all about placement. Your gun is still going, isn't he? Or your guy's still going, isn't he? Stevo takes the point. He looks at the warehouse and sees Bernie's dead body. Interior warehouse floor. Justine crawls. Interior warehouse south pillar. Chris looks around and sees a trolley. He grabs it and pulls it over. He sees a bag of rubble. They pile it onto the trolley. I've got to go over there.
This is not a good idea.
She's out in the open. We have to draw the fire.
You're not responsible for her.
Oh, come on, you don't mean that.
You're going to get yourself fucking killed.
Yeah, I'll push it along the line of those broken foundations. I can fall back along if it goes wrong. Frank knows there's no convincing him.
Hey, Chris.
Chris pushes the trolley forward. It takes a lot of effort. He edges out into the open space. He makes eye contact with Justine. She looks scared. Interior warehouse, AR-18 boxes. Ord can hear the squeaking noise. It's the sound of trolley wheels. He moves over to the edge of the boxes and takes a look. Vernon shifts over to have a look as well. He sees the trolley being pushed by Chris. It's loaded with refuse bags of rubbish. Chris can be seen bobbing along behind it. Ord looks over to where the trolley seems to be heading.
They're trying to flank us.
Vernon takes aim and fires. A plume of dust explodes from the top of the refuse bag. Interior warehouse behind the trolley. Chris flinches as the bullets impact the bag in the trolley. There's a small flash from the south pillar and a wooden impact as Frank aims at them. Vernon ducks down. Ord hunkers down low. Wood chips explode around them. Interior warehouse. Justine watches as Chris makes his advance. Interior warehouse south pillar. Frank makes them count. Stevo aims and fires. Frank stops Stevo firing.
We just need to make them keep their heads down.
Interior warehouse, AR-18 boxes. Ord watches as the trolley edges along at a snail's pace.
What ammo are you shooting?
Get on me. 9mm hollow point.
Ah. Well, that's not going to do anything. It's just going to blot off those refuse sacks. What they got in them, rubble?
Sure.
He aims and fires again.
You are wasting your time. Aim for the wheels.
Interior warehouse behind the trolley. Chris pushes the trolley forward. The bullets chip wood out of the makeshift barrier. Interior warehouse south of van. Justine starts to crawl back to the low wall. She looks over to Chris. She knows he's risking his life for hers. Interior warehouse, AR-18 boxes. Ord watches as the trolley approaches. He looks around him for something to use. He pulls a hip flask out of his pocket and takes a swig. He takes another shot. This time, it ricochets and breaks the axle of the trolley. The trolley collapses. Interior warehouse trolley. Chris scrambles for cover as the trolley falls to pieces. Bullets rip across the concrete and Chris rolls, cursing. He looks at his route back to the pillar. He can see a bag of rubble he could use as cover. Interior warehouse AR-18 boxes. Vernon fires blindly. Ord doesn't look so confident. He looks around and sees Justine disappearing behind a pillar at the west side. He realizes the plan. Interior warehouse collapsed trolley. Chris crawls back to the bag of rubble as fast as he can. Interior warehouse AR-18 boxes. Ord and Harry take it, and turns to shoot at Chris.
Take your time.
Interior warehouse bags of rubble. Dust flies in the air as the bags are hit by pistol fire. Chris cowers behind the bags. He sees an aerosol can on the ground and he picks it up. Interior warehouse south pillar. Frank and Stevo continue to return fire. Frank sees that Justine has made her way back to her low wall position. He smiles. Interior warehouse AR-18 boxes. Ord ducks behind the boxes as a salvo of shots fly in his direction. Interior warehouse bags of rubble. Chris grabs the aerosol can and throws it towards the AR-18 boxes. Interior warehouse south pillar. Frank sees the aerosol go over. Interior warehouse bag of rubble. Chris watches as the aerosol rolls towards the boxes. He steadies his hand and takes aim. He shoots, misses. He shoots again and hits. The canister explodes. Interior warehouse AR-18 boxes. Ord and Vernon duck for cover as they are blown off of their feet.
What the fuck was that?
Interior warehouse rubble bags. Chris crawls out from his cover towards the south pillar. He moves methodically forward, pulling himself along. He looks back to the AR-18 boxes. The small explosion hadn't done much damage. He looks ahead and sees Frank and Stevo at the pillar. Frank is beckoning him in. Interior warehouse south pillar. Chris is pulled behind the pillar by Frank and Stevo. Chris is exhausted. Frank grabs his head and hugs him.
Mad bastard.
Did she make it?
Yeah.
Chris looks around and sees Justine by the low wall. She looks back and smiles. Interior warehouse AR-18 boxes. Ord chuckles to himself.
What are you laughing at?
The sky is a problem. Trying to blank us with a bag of rubble and a trolley. He's got heart.
He's a fucking idiot. For what? The woman he doesn't know?
Interior warehouse south pillar. Chris and Frank plan. We have to get to that phone and call in Leary. Frank looks over to the stairs, the far corner of the warehouse. He looks back to the AR-18 cases.
Go.
I should go.
You got your shot when I was supposed to be looking out for you.
I'm a big boy now.
It's not you I'm worried about, it's my sister. I promised her you'd be all right.
I'll do it.
I am going. I'm the only one fit enough.
Chris and Frank look at each other. There's an understanding. Chris looks at him. It looks at the lay of the land. Look, if you can get over towards the stairs, it'll be very hard for them to hit you. And if you crawl low, use the rubbish for cover.
Sure. What have they got? Automatics? Revolvers? It's too far for a shot there. Too far for a shot.
He smiles winningly. The other two men are not so sure. Interior warehouse AR-18 boxes. Ord watches the south pillar. He looks at his leg wound and ties off the bandage.
They're gonna go to the phone now and bring their guys.
I can make it now. You cover me.
We should stay we should stay hidden here.
Sconced. And wait for them to bring Ricochet and his brothers down here. Oh, fuck that.
We should get the ammo out of the van and overpower them.
We had your chance. I'm not listening to you again.
Ord looks at the distance and tries to run the play in his head. Maybe.
What's up? Look at you.
Ord looks at Vernon's leg wound. He tidies up the bandage. He looks around and finds some cardboard. He starts to rip it up.
What are you doing?
If you're going to crawl on the ground, you need some pads.
Are you fucking kidding?
The shit in this warehouse is more likely to kill us than the bullets. Pigeon shit, chemicals, and you're going to crawl around in it with an open wound. You need every bit of help you can get.
He ties the cardboard around his legs.
How the fuck did this happen?
There's a moment of calm between them. Ord appreciates what Vernon is about to do, even if it is crazy.
Okay. Good luck.
Vernon is now wearing his cardboard armor. He looks dejected. He shuffles off. Interior warehouse, the back of the van. Vernon crawls out to the back of the van. He looks over to the south pillar. He holds his leg and grimaces. He sees Frank making his way out. He holds his pistol up. It's heavy. We can see the gun wobbling about. Vernon tries to steady it. He can't do it. He opens the cylinder to look and see how many shots he has. He frowns. He puts his hand in his pocket and finds a couple of bullets, and he reloads his gun. He looks over and he can see Frank is further away. He takes aim. He has even less chance of hitting him now. He looks on in frustration. Vernon holsters his pistol, and with a nervous look over to the south pillar, he prepares to crawl. He looks back to Ord. Ord has his pistol aimed at the pillar. He urges Vernon on with his eyes. Vernon lays as close to the ground as he can and starts to shuffle out from the corner of the van. Interior warehouse AR-18 boxes. Ord watches the south pillar. There's no movement. He looks back to Vernon, who is now about 6 feet clear of the van. He looks over to Frank in the distance, and he notices movement behind the pillar. Interior warehouse south pillar. Chris watches from behind the pillar as Vernon is crawling. He takes aim. Stevo sees him too.
He's coming, Frank.
Interior warehouse towards the stairs. Frank grunts as he crawls. He uses his arms to pull his body along, dragging his legs behind him. He has a steady pace on now. He has pushed through the detritus on the floor, cartons and abandoned refuse bags. He is huffing and puffing. He stops for a moment and looks over his shoulder. In the distance, he can see Vernon. He turns and looks forward to the stairs. They lay about 500 meters away. Between him and the stairs are many obstacles.
Come on, Frank. Come on.
Go on, Frank, move! Interior warehouse 10 meters out from the van. Vernon is moving between refuse sacks. He pushes through them. He's about 100 meters from the south pillar. He can see another pillar about 10 meters from his position. He looks to the south pillar and can't see any movement.
Move it, Vern. Come on. He's slowing down.
Frank, come on.
Go on, Vern, move your ass.
Interior warehouse AR-18 boxes. Ord is following Vernon's progress. He looks over to the south pillar, then looks back to Vernon.
The ammo for the AR-18's in the van?
Yeah,
Go and get it then.
that's pretty dangerous, Ord.
Ord looks at him in a way that Harry knows that he doesn't have a choice in the matter. Harry weighs up the threat. He looks around and sees Gordon. Gordon looks at him with wild eyes. He looks back at Ord. He turns and starts to crawl back towards the van. It's about 10 meters of open ground. Interior warehouse south pillar. Chris is watching the progress of Vernon.
Take the shot.
Shut up.
He shot Bernie like he was a dog in the street.
Stevo fires his pistol. The shot goes wide of Vernon. Chris looks at Stevo wild-eyed. He is wasting precious ammo. Stop. Stevo continues to fire. Chris grabs him. I told you to stop. Interior warehouse 20 meters from the van. Vernon scrambles out of the way. He pulls his pistol and shoots back towards the south pillar. Interior warehouse AR-18 boxes. Ord gets a clear shot of Stevo and takes it. He fires twice. Interior warehouse towards the van. Harry ducks and cowers as the shots start to fly again. Interior warehouse south pillar. Bricks shatter from the pillar. Shots are coming from both sides. Chris pulls Stevo down to the ground. Interior warehouse low wall. Justine sees Ord clearly firing at the south pillar. She takes a shot with her .38. She hits Ord in the arm and he ducks down.
Oh, Jesus, Justine.
Interior warehouse 20 meters out from the van. Vernon makes it to the far pillar and he reloads his pistol. Interior warehouse towards the van. Harry makes it to the back of the van. He pulls the handles on the door. Nothing. He tries again. It's locked. He looks depressed. He looks desperately to Chris and then to Martin's body. Interior warehouse AR-18 boxes. Ord looks over to Harry. Ord is trying to stop the bleeding from his new wound. He gestures to Harry to open the doors. Harry shrugs and makes a car key chime. Or car key mime. Ord looks over to where Martin lays. And then he looks back to Harry. Harry shakes his head. Interior warehouse south pillar. Chris and Stevo scramble to the floor. Chris is punching Stevo in the head. They thrash about, each man not strong enough to get the better of the other. Chris reaches down and grabs Stevo's leg and forces his fingers into his bullet wound. He squeezes. Stevo screams and passes out. The fight is over. Chris sits for a moment, panting. He shakes his head in disbelief. Interior warehouse towards the stairs. Frank keeps on going. He can see the stairs now. He looks back and he can see the smoke blowing from across the shootout. Interior warehouse towards Martin. Harry crawls towards Martin. He stops for a moment, watching the south pillar, and then moves on a bit more. Interior warehouse, far pillar. Vernon looks at Frank. He checks his pistol again. He takes aim and tries to support his hand. Again, he can't do it. Vernon holsters his pistol and then starts out again. Interior warehouse towards the stairs. Frank keeps moving. He looks back and he can see Vernon in the distance. He winces and looks down at his hand. It's got a syringe sticking in it. It's gone in quite deep. He winces as he pulls it out and throws it to one side. This warehouse has obviously hosted junkies at one point. Interior warehouse. Harry gets over to Martin's body. He turns him over. He's been shot in the head. Harry goes through his pockets trying to find keys to the van. Harry looks around and spots the briefcase with the money. He looks back to Ord. Ord shrugs. What are you waiting for? Interior warehouse stairs. Frank arrives at the stairs. He looks up at them. There's a steep flight from the landing and then they go up again. It might as well be the north face of the Eiger. Frank hauls himself up the first step.
Come on, boy.
Frank pulls himself up. Interior warehouse towards the stairs. Vernon is moving through the dirt towards the stairs. He sees the syringes. He manages not to get stuck by them. Interior warehouse low wall. Justine checks her pistol and she looks at Chris. He knows she is going to make a break for it. She starts to move away and Chris watches her go. Interior warehouse south pillar. Chris watches as Justine disappears from his blind spot behind the large pillar in the line of broken office foundations. Interior warehouse AR-18 boxes. Ord watches as Justine starts to shuffle away. He looks over at the back of the warehouse and he sighs.
Fuck. Gordon,
What?
you have to stop her.
We're all for letting her go.
Yeah, well, situations change. She's obviously with them.
Why don't you go? I came here to drive and move boxes.
Because I have to keep Chris pinned down. You're the only spare man we have.
Ord looks over to Harry, who is still searching Martin's pockets. Ord sees in the distance that the briefcase with the money's in. He looks back to Gordon, who's also looking at it.
What do I get out of it?
I'll pay you.
Half the money?
Don't push your luck. I'll give you 10K.
Gordon nods and then starts to move off. Interior warehouse stairs. Frank is climbing up the stairs, stair after stair. He stops every couple to rest a little. The world has been reduced down to a stairwell. He stops again and passes out. Interior warehouse stairs. Vernon is approaching the bottom of the stairs. He is huffing and puffing with exertion. Interior warehouse south area. Justine is moving steadily and carefully. Interior warehouse south area. Gordon is crawling, following Justine. Interior warehouse stairs. Frank opens his eyes. He looks around, panicking. How long has he been unconscious? He moves forward. Interior warehouse stairs. Vernon gets around the corner of the stairs. He looks up and sees Frank at the top. He pulls out his pistol, but it gets caught in his jacket. Interior warehouse stairs. Frank gets to the landing of the stairs and starts to turn. He sees Vernon at the bottom. He sees him trying to get his pistol out, and Frank moves faster, kicking his way forward. Vernon fires and misses. Plaster explodes out of the wall. Interior warehouse stairs. Frank gets around the side of the stairs and pulls out his pistol. He gets his breath. Interior warehouse south side. Justine is crawling towards the door they all entered into the warehouse about an hour beforehand. She is moving at a decent pace. Interior warehouse far south. Gordon follows with grim determination. He sees Justine bobbing up and down in the distance. Interior warehouse. Harry is going through Martin's pockets. Suddenly, Martin springs to life. Harry looks at the wound at the side of his head. He can see bits of bone and brain.
Oh. What are you doing?
Van keys?
Get off me.
Where are the van keys?
Where am I?
You're hurt. Keep still.
Fuck, why am I wet?
Keys.
Get off me.
Interior warehouse stairs. Vernon shuffles back and tries to make a small target of himself. He points his gun wildly, like a priest might with a cross to ward off a vampire. Interior warehouse stairs. Frank looks around the corner carefully. He sees that Vernon has backed up. He looks up the next flight of stairs. He puts his pistol away and prepares for the next flight. He starts climbing. Interior warehouse. Harry starts rummaging through Martin's pockets more aggressively.
Why am I wet?
You were shot.
Where am I?
Fucking keys.
Why am I wet?
Martin starts to get up. He starts looking around the warehouse. He is like the first monkey to stand on his two legs.
Huh.
And as he stands, Harry's grip rips his pocket and the keys tumble out. Harry tries to pull him down, but Martin kicks him off and he pulls out his pistol.
Where am I? Martin, get down.
Martin turns and shoots at Ord. Harry goes into a ball on the floor.
What are you doing? Are you trying to trick me? Where's the money?
He walks over to where Ord is hiding.
Get down. Trying to rip me off?
Martin fires at Ord. Ord scrambles backwards, trying to get out of the way of the fire. He ends up behind the low wall towards the north of the boxes. Bullets ping off of the masonry.
Do not make me shoot you, Martin.
He looks up, but Martin is gone. He looks around wild-eyed. Interior warehouse upstairs. Frank gets to the top of the stairs and moves forward. He slides on the floor, blood smearing behind him. He scoots around in an open office. Interior upstairs office. Frank shuffles into the office, and there are a few desks. He can't see over them. He moves forward and grabs a roller chair and tries to pull himself up so he can see if the phone is in there. The first desk he tries is difficult. The chair slides from under him and he collapses on the floor. He curses. He turns the chair over and tries again. He gets to the level of the desk and sees nothing. Frank grits his teeth in disappointment. He looks around to the other side of the desk and sees a phone. He kicks with his foot to wheel the chair over to it. He grabs the phone and picks it up. It's dead. He throws it to one side and he moves to get out of the room. Interior warehouse. Chris watches as Martin moves around. He's looking for something.
Justine.
Interior warehouse far door. Justine makes her way into the corridor. She moves forward. Once the door closes behind her, she gets up on one leg and starts to hobble along at a faster pace. Interior warehouse top of the stairs. Vernon gets to the top of the stairs. He looks down the corridor and sees the blood trail. He pulls his pistol out and takes aim to get Frank as he comes out of the office. He can hear Martin howling in the warehouse.
Justine.
Interior upstairs open office. Frank waits, breathing in shallow breaths. He looks to the door. He looks around the room and sees a paint pot. He grabs it, cleans it, and pushes it out into the corridor. Interior warehouse top of the stairs. Vernon sees the paint pot slide into view. Interior upstairs open office. Frank looks at the shiny reflection of the paint pot.
I can see ya.
Interior warehouse top of the stairs. Vernon shoots the paint pot. Interior warehouse south pillar. Chris looks up as he hears the gunshot. Interior warehouse. Martin is touching his head. He sees his hand is covered in blood. He plays with the bullet wound. It does not seem to hurt. It's a horrific sight. Interior warehouse far south. Gordon is following Justine. He stops for a moment as he hears the gunfire. Interior warehouse AR-18 boxes. Ord sneers. He can't tell which way this is going. He looks from the far door, where Justine and Gordon are battling, to the upstairs, where Frank and Vernon are, to around the warehouse. He spots Martin in the distance. He's approaching Howie's corpse. Interior upstairs open office. Frank looks around the office. It's constructed mainly of plasterboard. He looks to the corner of the room near the door. He aims his pistol at the plaster and fires. Interior warehouse top of the stairs. Vernon ducks down as the plaster explodes around him. He rolls down 2 steps to the staircase. Interior corridor. Justine moves over a plank and it bangs up and down, making a noise. She moves on. Ahead of her is another door. Interior upstairs open office. Frank moves over towards the wall on the far side. He uses his good foot to kick his way through. He climbs into the hole he has made and makes his way into the next office. Interior warehouse, top of the stairs. Vernon crawls back along the stairs and heads out to the corridor. He slides along the floor and cautiously looks into the empty office. Interior office partition. Frank crawls through the partition. It's very dusty and full of pipes. Frank makes his way through the partition, looking for an easy way through to the next room. There's an explosion as Vernon fires his gun. A beam of light suddenly appears where the bullet has passed through the plasterboard.
Fuck.
Frank scrambles for his life. He moves through the cabling and starts to kick his way through the next wall. There's another shot, another beam of light streaks through the tight space. Frank starts to panic. The cables wrap around him and he kicks and thrashes to try to get out of the way of the bullets. He starts to cough in the dust. Frank wedges himself between the brickwork and the plasterboard and starts to kick with his good leg. He smashes his way through to the next office and pulls himself through the small hole. Interior warehouse. Martin is kicking Howie's body.
You fucking idiot.
Interior warehouse, low wall by the AR-18 cases. Ord watches Martin. His curiosity piqued. Interior upstairs, second office. Frank looks around and sees that he's in a storeroom. He crawls through boxes and mops. He stops for a moment, exhausted. Interior corridor. Justine grabs the door handle and twists it. The door opens and she makes her way through. She closes the door behind her. She breathes for a moment. Then she starts on towards the next door. Interior corridor. Gordon moves on through the door and into the corridor. He sees the door at the far end closing. He curses and tries to move faster. He gets up and drags himself along. Interior warehouse upstairs. Vernon looks around the empty room and then out to the corridor. He moves down the corridor towards the door. Interior upstairs, second office. Frank breathes shallow breaths as he sees a shadow move across the bottom of the door. Interior warehouse upstairs. Vernon tries the door. It's locked. Suddenly, the door explodes as Frank fires through it. Vernon returns fire, trying to match the trajectory. Dust and plaster fill the corridor. Interior upstairs office number 2. Inside the office, dust explodes as Frank shoots it out with Vernon. Interior upstairs. Vernon gets hit in the arm. He fires back blindly. Interior upstairs office 2. Frank keeps firing until he runs out of bullets. Frank looks around him and notices the ground is wet. He sniffs the liquid. It's some kind of cleaning fluid solvent. He looks low through the door and he can just make out Vernon. He grabs some bottles of industrial solvent and pours them under the door. Interior warehouse. Harry watches Martin moving along. He looks over towards the briefcase where the money's in. He looks over to Ord's position and then to the van. Interior warehouse. Martin kneels over at Howie's body and with his head in his hands.
Simple plan. How could you be so stupid?
He looks around nervously. Has he said too much? He picks up Howie's Garand and scans about. He sees Chris watching him from the south pillar. He takes aim and fires. Chank, ping. Interior corridor. Justine reaches the door. She reaches up for the door handle and her hand slips off of it. She tries it again. The door is locked from the other side. It must have a deadlock. She fights back the tears. She listens for a minute. She hears the bang sound of a plank that she crawled over 3 minutes before. She freezes and looks back. She shuffles to the side of the door in the darkness. She pulls out her gun and counts the rounds. She has 2 shots left. She flips the cylinder back into the frame and takes aim at the door. Interior warehouse, south pillar. Chris fires back at Martin. Martin fires another shot at Chris. Masonry explodes from the side of the pillar. Interior warehouse, upstairs. Vernon sees the liquid welling up under the door. He isn't sure what it means. Interior upstairs office. Frank pours more of the liquid through. He holds a handkerchief to his mouth. Interior warehouse upstairs. Vernon watches as the liquid starts to lap around his feet. He sniffs the air and starts to realize what's about to happen. He looks around and sees a fire extinguisher on the wall. Interior upstairs office. Frank crawls over to the wall and starts to kick it through. He smashes it in and crawls through the hole. He lights the solvent slick as he leaves. A small blue flame rushes across the floor and under the door. Interior warehouse upstairs. The flame shoots out from under the door and ignites Vernon's polyester and solvent-soaked slacks. He starts kicking his legs in pain. He throws himself towards the fire extinguisher. Interior upstairs office. Frank smashes his way through the third office. He lays there gasping as he hears Vernon screaming. Interior warehouse upstairs. Vernon pulls the fire extinguisher off the wall and fumbles with the release on the nozzle. He is panicking. Finally, he gets it and he is covered in a cloud of white smoke. Interior Warehouse low wall AR-18 cases. Ord watches the shootout between Chris and Martin. He takes aim, but can't get a clear shot of either of them. You can see he's weighing the odds. Interior corridor. Gordon pushes the door open and starts to make his way in. He raises the pistol in an attempt to protect himself. Justine fires. The first shot is wide and hits the door. Gordon fires blindly and the shot pings off the wall. Justine fires her last bullet and hits Gordon in the shoulder. He rolls over and drops the pistol. It skitters across the floor. The smoke settles for a minute. Interior upstairs office 3. Frank finally sees the phone and crawls towards it. He smiles. It's like completing a marathon. Interior warehouse. Martin empties the Garand and drops it. He touches his head again. He's feeling dizzy. Interior warehouse entrance corridor. Gordon coughs. He looks around. He's dazed. Justine looks at the pistol. It's closer to her than it is to him. She starts shuffling towards it. Gordon turns angrily and starts moving towards it. The two of them move towards the gun.
You get away from that.
Justine has her 38 in her fist. Gordon gets to the pistol before Justine and he grabs at it. Justine brings the 38 down hard on Gordon's fingers. He screams and she hits him again. His fingers are broken. His pistol skitters away even further. Justine looks over to it and then back to Gordon. Gordon realizes what she's thinking and jumps forward with all his might. He grabs at her and they grapple on the floor. Justine smacks her 38 into his wounded head. His hands creep over her face, trying to smother her. She bashes at his head with the gun like it's a hammer. She reaches out for the other pistol. Gordon uses his other hand to choke her. Justine bites into his broken fingers. He screams. Justine spits out a finger. She grabs the pistol and shoots Gordon in the face. He falls back, shocked. Blood runs down his face from the hole below his eye. He breathes heavily as he looks at her. She fires again and kills him. Gordon falls to the ground. Interior office 3. Frank to the phone and he picks up the receiver. There's a volley of shots through the office door. The glass paneling falls away to reveal Vernon. Gun smoke drifts from his pistol. Frank collapses to the ground, dead. The phone's dead tone can be heard. Interior warehouse. Martin looks around wildly. He can see the money and makes a beeline for it. He marches over and grabs it. Harry watches from his position. Chris watches from the pillar. Martin looks up at the sunlight and is mesmerized for a moment. He starts to walk, not in the right direction. He walks manically. Slowly, he starts to wind down. His walking gets slower. He eventually stops and drops the briefcase.
Where am I? Did it work? Did we get the money?
He falls to the ground, dead. Interior warehouse entrance corridor. Justine sits up and gasps. She sucks in her lips and checks her teeth. Interior warehouse upstairs. Vernon lowers his gun. His breathing is shallow now. He sits there and doesn't move. He's very burnt. He's done. And the fire dies out. Interior warehouse entrance corridor. Justine looked at the magazine of Gordon's gun. 6 shots left. She holsters her 38 and after wiping the blood off of it. Interior warehouse south pillar. Chris sits looking back to where the gunshots have been coming from. He shakes his head slowly.
Do you think he made it?
Sure. Stevo smiles. Chris looks at how pale Stevo is now. He's lost a lot of blood. He looks like he's at death's door. Hey, wake up, Stevo.
Sleeping.
If you fall asleep, you won't wake up. You know that.
I'm so sorry, Chris. Sorry.
Look, I've got to go help Frank. You have to watch Ord. Can you do it?
I'll try, man.
You keep him pinned down. Judging by the gunfire, Justine can't get up too far before the guy caught up with her.
Do you think she's dead?
Chris doesn't want to believe that she's dead. He moves off towards the stairs. Interior warehouse AR-18 boxes. Ord watches as Chris moves off towards the stairs. He looks around. He's lost Gordon. He can't see Harry.
Harry,
Harry pops his head out from behind a low wall. He sees Chris crawling. There's a gunshot from Stevo, and Ord is forced down again.
Fuck.
Interior warehouse stairs. Stevo looks up to see the staircase. He starts to climb. He gets a better shot. He does a better job of it than Frank. Chris looks over to the top of the stairs. He sees Vernon at the end of the corridor. He looks like he might be dead. Chris takes aim at the man. He checks his ammo. 2 shots. He puts the pistol back in his holster. He starts the long journey, moving slowly hand over hand, making his way forward. Interior warehouse south door. Justine crawls through the door as quietly as she can, and she scans the warehouse. There's one way out of there, and it's through the back door. She looks to it. She crawls along the edge of the warehouse. Interior warehouse upstairs corridor. Vernon is not dead, but he's very badly injured. He is breathing, but in a very shallow fashion. We see Chris in the distance moving towards him. Vernon opens his eyes for a moment and looks at the shot up door that was between him and Frank. Interior warehouse AR-18 boxes. Ord looks at the upstairs and then spots cabling coming out of the office. It's phone trunking. He sees it and goes to a box before going outside. He looks around and then makes a break for it. He shuffles forward, keeping a wary eye on the south pillar. Interior warehouse south pillar. Stevo is winking in and out of consciousness. He sees Ord, but can't get it together to fire on him. He lifts his pistol and then gives up. Interior warehouse back wall. Back inside the main warehouse, Justine looks around. She can see the van and the AR-18 boxes. She moves away from them towards Jimmy's pillar. Interior upstairs warehouse. Chris crawls along the floor, slowly. He stops for a moment and gets a pack of sweets out of his pocket. He eats one, and then starts again. Interior warehouse upstairs corridor. Vernon registers that Chris is moving up the corridor. He looks around slowly with his eyes. Where did he drop his gun? He sees it, just out of reach. He sucks his cheeks for a bit of sustenance and considers his options. Interior upstairs warehouse. Chris can see more clearly now. Vernon has been shot and burnt and is slumped against the wall. His pistol is about a meter away from him. Interior warehouse upstairs corridor. Vernon gets himself ready for his attack. He will only get one go at this. He breathes in and then launches himself towards the pistol. His body hits the ground with a thud. Interior upstairs warehouse. Chris sees this movement and grabs for his pistol. Interior warehouse corridor upstairs. Vernon's sticky, bloody fingers grapple for the pistol. It's a monumental effort. Eventually, he grabs hold and brings it to bear. He pulls the trigger. The gun kicks out of his hand. Interior upstairs warehouse. Chris is showered with plaster and dust as the bullet tears into the wall. He aims his pistol and fires. The bullet hits Vern in the side. Interior warehouse upstairs corridor. Vernon scrambles for the fumbled weapon. He grabs it and turns and aims. He can't miss at this range. He pulls the trigger and hears a sickening click. The gun is empty. Interior upstairs warehouse. Chris has one last shot. He takes it and shoots Vernon in the nose. Vernon slumps down, finally dead. Chris moves towards him and goes to his pockets. He has extra bullets for his gun and a pack of peanuts. Chris devours the peanuts. Interior warehouse south wall. Up ahead, Justine can see the fallen body of Jimmy. She crawls over towards him. Interior upstairs warehouse. Chris kicks in the door to the office. He crawls through the hole. He looks up and starts to see the dead body of Frank. He seems to be staring into space. Chris looks at him for a beat. He can't believe it's ended like this. And he shuffles over and closes Frank's eyes. Chris recites a poem. Death is nothing at all. I am I and you are you. Whatever we were to each other, that we still are. Chris gets the telephone. He dials. Hello.
Hello?
Is Leary there?
No, he's not.
Where is he?
He's out. Who is this? Who is this?
It's Chris.
He's gone looking for you.
Interior warehouse towards the phone junction. Ord is moving at a pace. Interior warehouse, Jimmy's pillar. Justine gets to the pillar. She picks up Jimmy's carbine and drags it with her. Jimmy's body is propped up in the corner. He's dead. In his hand is the picture of his wife and kids. Justine goes through his pockets. She hears a smashing noise and looks up. She can see Ord ripping the telephone junction box from the wall. Interior upstairs warehouse. Sandy is burned in there. Hey, Sandy. He shakes the phone. It's dead. Exterior warehouse. The 72 Plymouth Fury and the van are still parked up outside. A third car pulls up. A man in a leather jacket gets out. He looks around the vehicles and he walks over to the warehouse. Interior warehouse corridor. We see the man now. Leary, 29, tall, confident. He strides along, cigarette in his mouth, and he looks in the doorways. Interior warehouse, Jimmy's pillar. Justine picks up the M1 carbine and lays on the ground and takes aim. She looks down the iron sight. She swipes the carbine across the AR-18 boxes to where she felt the sound was coming from. She sees Ord in the distance. He's standing on a cable box. She takes aim, but it's too late and he drops out of view. Black. Interior warehouse, Jimmy's pillar. Justine opens her eyes. She's passed out. She struggles to bring herself around and her eyes start to droop. She's passing out again. Her head nods now, unconscious. Blood leaks from underneath her. Interior warehouse corridor. Leary enters through the deadlocked door. He sees Gordon's body on the floor. He stops in his tracks. He pulls his pistol and looks around. He finds a bit of wood and prods at the body. He examines the wounds in his head. He looks back at the door. This is the life or death situation. Move forward or run away. Leary is just not the sort to go back. He carefully moves towards the next door. He sees the blood and bullet marks on it. He sees the blood drag marks on the floor. Interior warehouse. Leary enters the warehouse. He sees the van parked up the middle. He looks cautiously around the warehouse. It's dead quiet. Nothing is stirring. He sniffs the air. He detects a bit of cordite.
Hello?
No sign of life.
Hello? Chris? Frank?
He moves cautiously into the warehouse. He looks around. He sees Martin's body a way off. He stops and he looks around. He can see the money on the floor near Martin's body. He moves towards it. Interior warehouse upstairs. Chris has heard Leary's voice. He makes his way towards the window. He can see Leary. He spots what's about to happen. Harry is hiding behind the pillar. Chris bangs the glass. Leary! Leary! Leary steps forward and looks around. He steps forward again, and Harry swings a tire iron into his shins. Leary falls and drops his gun. Harry leaps forward and crushes his head with the tire iron. Leary lays there, twitching.
You get him!
Yeah, I got him.
Interior warehouse by the phone junction. Ord looks over to Harry. He looks over to the stairs. He wonders if Chris will come back now. Interior warehouse upstairs. Chris looks distraught. He pulls himself through the door and makes his way back to the stairwell. Interior warehouse. Harry goes through Leary's pockets. He can't find anything worth keeping. Harry lays there for a moment thinking, and he grabs the money. Harry pulls himself towards the Chevy.
Where are you going, Harry?
He inches slowly towards it, pushing the money in front of him. Blood loss is affecting him now. He looks ahead, his vision drifting in and out of focus. He stops for a moment to catch his breath.
Come on, come on.
He tries to fortify himself. This is only him now and his task. He slides forward about an inch with each effort. Behind him, he leaves a slick of blood.
Don't do it, Harry.
The van starts to loom ahead of him. He looks at the shiny chromium trim, notices the crusted dirt on the underside of it for the first time, and the cat. Interior warehouse stairwell. Chris lowers himself down the stairs one by one. Interior warehouse van. Harry arrives at the van. He huffs and puffs heavily. He rolls himself up one side and uses the van as a backstop to slide himself upright. He looks around woozy. He knows that he is very vulnerable at this point. He also knows that he has no choice. This is going to happen. He hesitantly reaches up with his hand. It touches the cool metal of the van. He reaches up further and his hand gently touches the door handle. Interior warehouse by the phone box. Ord takes aim with his automatic. He tracks Harry between the crosshairs of his pistol, and he pulls the trigger. Click. The gun is jammed. Ord pulls the safety on and drops the mag. He turns the gun over, but nothing drops out. He pulls the rack back and sees 2 bullets have jammed in the breech. He tries to unblock them, but they are totally stuck. He grimaces, adjusts his mustache. Fuck. He starts to strip the gun down. Interior warehouse by the van. Harry grasps the handle. He waits a moment and then flexes his muscle to see if he can lift himself from the ground. He grimaces. It's going to be a massive effort.
1, 2, 3.
He pulls himself onto his knee, then slides up the side of the van door. He sees himself in the wing mirror, like a waxy ghost. He's standing now, holding himself up at the door and wedging himself up with his good leg. Interior stairs. Chris falls a couple of stairs. Interior warehouse by the phone junction. Ord is putting his pistol back together. He's almost there. He looks up and sees Harry at the van. Interior warehouse by the van. Harry licks his lips and digs into his pocket for his van keys. He retrieves them and slots them into the door lock. He quietly turns and hears the door click open. He pushes with his weight to get the door to swing open. He takes the keys out from his door lock and puts them in his pocket. He grabs the briefcase with the money and throws it in the van. Harry shuffles through the open door and crawls up the step towards the cab. He crouches in the well of the doorstep and then forces himself up onto the seat. He lays for a moment with his legs dangling out of the van. He looks towards the driving seat and steering wheel. Interior warehouse by the phone junction. Ord finishes putting together his pistol. He takes aim. He pulls the trigger. Nothing. He still has the safety on. He unclicks it and takes aim again. Interior van. Harry starts to crawl along the 2 seats in the cab towards the driving seat. As he struggles, his feet bash against the door of the van. The windshield shatters as Ord fires at the van. Glass covers Harry. Interior warehouse south pillar. Stevo is winking in and out of consciousness. He hears Ord firing. He sees Harry's feet sticking out of the van. And says,
Shit.
Stevo rolls onto his knees and uses all of his strength to bring his pistol up and take aim at Harry. He can't see the body, just his legs. He aims for a minute and then stops. The pistol is too heavy. He tries to get something to rest his aim on. Interior Chevy. Harry wriggles across the seat and grabs the steering wheel with his right hand. He pulls himself forward. His feet disappear into the Chevy. The side window shatters as another bullet hits it. Interior warehouse south pillar. Stevo realizes that his chance is gone. He drops his pistol down for a moment, conserving energy. He looks very pale. Interior Chevy. Harry gets in the driver's seat and puts his hand in his pocket to get the ignition key. When he pulls his hand out, we see that it is slick with blood. He tries to select the ignition key from the bunch. His hand is slippery, and it takes him a few attempts to separate the keys. He finally finds the key and puts it in the ignition. He turns it. The ignition grinds to life, or the engine grinds to life. Harry allows himself a little smile. He's very weak now. Interior warehouse south pillar. Stevo leans out from behind the pillar and fires. Interior Chevy. The windshield breaks again and Stevo shoots it. Shot low, it exits the roof of the van. Harry tries to dodge, but it's more of a reflex action. Harry puts the van into gear and the tape deck jumps to life. John Denver's Annie's Song. This is followed by It's Up to You, Cool and Green Shady, and Eclipse. Harry puts his foot down on the accelerator and it lurches forward. A second bullet hits Harry in the chest. He slumps back in his seat and grips the steering wheel. The Chevy is now at a snail's pace. Harry slumps over to the wheel. The Chevy starts to turn towards the south pillar in a lazy, wide circle. Interior warehouse. Warehouse south pillar. Stevo is finding his range now. He takes another shot. He puts a hole through the side of the Chevy. Interior Chevy. Harry is hit and slumps forward. The Chevy rolls in a circle. Interior warehouse south pillar. Stevo watches as the van moves slowly around the pillar. It's a wide arc, maybe 1,000 meters. He sees Harry inside the van trying to raise his pistol. The van starts to come closer in an elliptical circle. Closer and closer. Stevo can hear the music now and is getting louder as the van gets closer. Interior Chevy. Harry is holding on for dear life. He rests the gun on the door and fires at Stevo. He misses. The music is very loud in the van.
You fill up my senses. Come fill me again.
Interior warehouse, south pillar. Stevo moves against the pillar and the van loops and then moves away.
Come, let me love you. Let me give my life to you. Let me drown in your laughter. Let me die in your arms.
Interior Chevy. Harry is dead. The van keeps going.
Let me lay down beside you. Let me always be with you. Come, let me love you. Come, love me again.
Interior warehouse entrance. Chris enters the warehouse again. He looks about. It looks empty. He sees the van slowly driving around in a circle. He moves carefully back around the south pillar. He has to time his movements so he's not run over by the van. He sees the dead eyes of Harry as it passes. The music loops nearer and then further away. As it passes, Chris moves towards the pillar. Interior south pillar. Chris crawls to where Stevo is. He gets behind the pillar. There's a lot of blood. He sniffs the air. Stevo is dead. He takes the gun and puts it in his pocket. He looks over at the AR-18 cases. Nothing is moving. Chris sits there for a moment, gathering his thoughts. He looks over the upstairs windows of the office. He can see the red glow of a fire. Suddenly, water sprinklers turn on. Fuck it. Interior warehouse, Jimmy's pillar. Water hits Justine's face and she comes to. She looks up and sees the water pouring over the warehouse. Interior warehouse. Harry slumps over the steering wheel and the Chevy changes direction. It drives towards the far wall and stops. The music still plays. Blood drips from underneath the truck. Drip, drip, and then stops. Interior warehouse phone junction. Ord looks up at the water and shakes his head.
Hey, Chris, you see this?
What?
We have about 15 minutes before the cops turn up.
So what do you want to do?
You want to finish it?
I am banged up quite bad. I am betting you aren't in too much better shape.
Yeah, that's true.
You want to call a truce?
Yeah, okay.
Let's get out of here.
What about the money?
Split it. It was all a misunderstanding. Ord slips his pistol into his belt and starts crawling over. In the distance, John Denver is playing It's Up to You. Interior warehouse, south pillar. Chris watches Ord approach. The water is still pouring. Ord reaches the pillar and props himself up and looks over to Chris. He looks at Stevo.
He's gone.
Yeah.
You know what the flight at the Harlequin was about? The fight at the Harlequin?
No.
Oh.
Neither. I met him a few hours ago.
Wow. That's funny.
Life is ever at the mercy of idiots. Yeah, he did all right, though, in the end.
Let's get over to the van.
You in a hurry?
Yeah, I told you. I got shit to do.
They both smirk in a resigned way. Interior warehouse towards the van. Chris and Ord stand up and support each other. They hobble towards the van. Splashing through the puddles in the water that have now formed, they eventually make it to the van. Chris reaches it and turns the music off. John Denver stops singing. Chris takes a breath. He looks at Ord and smiles. They might get out of this yet. Suddenly, a shot rings out. Ord is hit in the face, the back of his head exploding across the van panel. He starts to slide backwards. A second shot finds Chris. Chris is hit in the chest and slides down the side of the van. Interior warehouse, Jimmy's pillar. Justine watches the two men collapse. She watches as the smoke drifts across the warehouse. The fire is taking hold now. Interior warehouse by the van. Chris looks up at the water coming out of the sprinkler system. He smiles as it hits his face. Interior warehouse, Jimmy's pillar. Justine uses the pillar as leverage and manages to get to her feet. She slings up the rifle under her arm, or under her armpit, and uses it as a crutch. She hobbles forward. Smoke is blowing across the warehouse now. Interior warehouse by the van. Justine approaches. She sees the bodies of Ord and Chris. Chris is still alive. He looks up at Justine. He's dying.
I'm sorry about you and your friends.
Who were the guys? The shooters.
Nobody. It was Martin's idea, but he's gone now. It was stupid. We were gonna get out.
Justine looks sad. She looks over to his body. I am sorry I shot him. Justine nods. She takes the money out of Chris's limp hand.
Sorry I shot you.
Justine puts on her sunglasses and turns to leave. Chris smiles and watches her go. He likes her. Chris talks to himself. Death is nothing at all. Death is nothing at all. I've only slipped away into the next room. I am I and you are you. Whatever we are to each other, that we still are. Call me by my old familiar name. Speak to me in the easy way which you always use. Put no difference into your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity to sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes we enjoyed together. Play, smile, and think of me. Pray for me. Let my name ever be a household word. But it always was. But to be spoken without effect, to have to trace the shadow on it. Interior warehouse. Justine limps forward. She holds the money. She is determined to survive. Life means all that it ever meant. That it's the same as it ever was. It's absolute unbroken continuity. Why should I be out of mind because I am out of sight? She moves towards the shuttered door exit. Suddenly, the roller comes up and she is bathed in light. She shields her eyes from the light. She shields her eyes. Out of the light steps a fireman. Behind him is a fire engine. They run in to fight the fire. I am but waiting for you. For an interval. Somewhere. Very near. Just around the corner. All is well. Justine stands there for a moment. She looks back towards the camera. This Old Guitar by John Denver plays. The end. Well, thank you for joining us for, like I said, one heck of a crazy gunfight. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you at the next one.